Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. But this time, it's not something old. It's something new. I'm going to talk about this graphic novel called Mother Nature. And this is by Jamie Lee Curtis, Karl Stevens, and Russell Goldman. And it's from 2023. It's very contemporary. And this is a library copy of this graphic novel. So remember, to read comics, you don't necessarily have to buy your own. Because anymore, most libraries have a plethora of comic book stuff, graphic novels, graphic albums and stuff, just waiting for people to read it. And looking through them, there's a lot of stuff I have absolutely no interest in reading. But there's a lot of stuff I would like to read. And without the library, I would not have known about this graphic novel. Okay, this is Mother Nature graphic novel from Titan Comics 2023. It is based on an unproduced film script by Jamie Lee Curtis and Russell Goldman with art by Karl Stevens. Okay, Mother Nature, it is an eco-horror graphic novel involving the earth powers and spirits reacting to an ecological assault from mining, oil drilling, and fracking in a small New Mexico town. Okay, and for those who might be too young to really remember or be aware of Jamie Lee Curtis, she is an actress. She's the daughter of Janet Leigh. Remember from Psycho? Yeah, she was the one killed in the that classic Psycho scene in the shower. That's Jamie Lee's mother, and so it's Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis from all kinds of movies, from Spartacus to the Vikings. Again with Kirk Douglas, as he was in Spartacus, but also had Janet Leigh in it as the beautiful princess, and I think that's where they met. And they were in at least one other movie together that I can't remember what it was. And of course, and then Jamie Lee Curtis was a very popular scream queen of the 80s horror movies, most specifically Halloween, because she was been mostly in Halloween movies. Been in almost all of the Halloween movies right up until this last one of Halloween Ends, when she finally, ultimately, we'll see, killed Michael Myers, because she killed him before. But maybe the wood chipper is more permanent than beheading. I don't know. And she's also in such movies as A Fish Called Wanda, where she was just gorgeous in that comedy, and just as gorgeous in True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And of course, now she's a couple of years older than me, and she's still a very lovely lady. And she's been in a lot of TV stuff, I guess. I'd have to go back and remember, because I don't remember. Was in the TV version of Operation Petticoat, about a World War II pink submarine, and she was in. She would have been playing an army nurse in that, and she was, I think, one if not two seasons a regular in NCIS. And she was the star in or one of the stars in the short-lived horror comedy TV series Scream Queens, because she was the queen of the Scream Queens in the 80s. Yes, and Karl Stevens, our artist here, he's born in 1978, so he's just a youngster yet. A very good artist. He's an American graphic novelist, painter, and cartoonist. He's done other graphic novels such as Penny, a graphic memoir in 2021. He has comic strips in alternative news weeklies, the Boston Phoenix and the Village Voice, and also in the New Yorker magazine. And apparently that's how Jamie Lee and Carl Stevens got together, because she is a fan of his work in the New Yorker, and she collected many of his originals. They got together, and she shared this unproduced script, and he wanted to turn it into a graphic novel, and I think he did a fine job. I have to say, I'm not going to go into too much detail into the story because it's too long and convoluted, and etc. But I'll show you some of it. It's some beautiful artwork, and some very nice visual storytelling. But there are a few spots, primarily in the climax at the end, where things get muddled. It gets difficult to tell what's going on, with the absence of captions or thought balloons. Just like in a movie. You don't have captions, you don't have thought balloons, and everything has to be told visually and with dialogue. And there's big gaps where there's no dialogue. And the only captions are captions expressing dialogue, with the exception of at the beginning. And in the conclusion, things get kind of muddled. It's hard to tell what's going on. And that's when that and a couple other spots when some conventional comic book dynamism would have gone a long way to help telling the story. I think that's just my personal opinion, but you can see it's a beautiful cover painting. Here you see in the background. It is, and Karl Stevens has used a lot of obvious photo reference for the scenes, the vehicles, and people. I think almost virtually all of the people, I think, are from photo reference of real people, either people that he knows or have just found in various photo reference. And he even used himself. This character here, the girl's father, our main character is Nova Terrell. She starts about 10 or 11 here, and the whole thing starts in 1995 in the town of Catch Creek, New Mexico. And this is when the Cobalt Company, who is basically the town, the primary employer for the town, has given up their mining operation because they had been mining for uranium, cobalt, and turning to oil drilling. And then later on, they have changed from conventional oil drilling to fracking. This is at a company picnic, and they're having this stuff going on. So as you can see, some beautiful stuff. Very sparse, very fine ink lines for our for the illustrations, and solid blacks are used very sparsely throughout the graphic novel. Most of it uses the watercolor, and you see some beautiful watercolor work done here. Most of the shading and etc. is done via usage of the watercolor, and a lot of very fine lines, but still relatively sparse, very thin and very sparse. Hardly any more line work than is absolutely necessary, letting the watercolor carry the illustration. Okay, and at this thing, they're just having the ceremony and starting up the first pumps. Boom, boom. They start pumping. And here is Nova's father, who works there. He And Carl Stevens modeled this character after himself. He modeled for it. And I didn't realize that. I was reading the graphic novel, and I was doing some research, so I was looking him up online, and had a picture of him, and I instantly recognized him as the father, having the pumps going on, stuff going on, and something is happening with one of these pumps right there, and stuff is leaking out. Something's not right, so it's his job to go over and check it out, and probably something just a little loose, got a wrench, when suddenly the whole pump just snaps, falls apart. Look at this. This is some very dramatic shots here. Seeing the pump, a rumble. He looks up. Part of the pump breaks off. Ah, look at that. Ah! Whap! Ooh, gets him right in the head. And then this is the character this is the big boss, the company owner. This is his daughter. Later, he died. Later on in the story, she has taken over, and she is modeled on Jamie Lee Curtis. Looks just like her, but you can see he uses a lot of the great work on the backgrounds, the scenery, the vehicles, the houses. Everything is just spot on. And of course, she is horrified and traumatized by witnessing such a horrendous death of her father. But weird stuff starts happening here. And just to let you know, Nova is half Navajo. Her mother, here in the yellow, is Kaya, I think her name is Navajo, full-blooded Navajo from Arizona. So we see how traumatized the girl is. Then it skips 30 years later, and this is all. Here we have the character Cynthia 30 years later as Jamie Lee Curtis. Looks just like Jamie Lee Curtis, and this is basically a propaganda ad for the Cobalt Company when they have changed over to fracking, and their concerns for efforts they're making to ensure clean water, etc., etc. We are America's energy. Then we cut to another character. She is one of the bigwigs locally there, and look at the detail, the magnificent detail in that kitchen scene. And she is just recovering from some form of cancer. I don't know what, and this involves her daughter, and her girlfriend has slept over. Anyway, and that's less important here. I'm not going to. But again, look at now Nova, 30 years older, and she is basically an eco-terrorist. She spent several years in jail. She got out and is now vandalizing and the Cobalt Company, even though her mother is still dependent on the Cobalt Company. They've leased the property that her mother owns, etc., etc. And something weird is going on. We don't know what. Oh, this is cool. This they're doing the school play. They're doing a production of Little Shop of Horrors. So here's the plant. I can't remember the plant's name. And one goes, "Feed me, sucker." Feed me, see more. This is all mostly interpersonal stuff at the school. Now, he used a lot of photo reference on these figures, which is actually great because everyone looks like normal people. And one of the ways you can tell, of course, the very extreme consistency in the appearance of the characters. And the great way that the clothing hangs and bunches up in unexpected ways that you wouldn't necessarily see in regular comic style illustration. There's some really beautiful stuff. Nova is in jail. Her mother goes to get her out, and Nova reveals she set a bomb there at the plant underground somewhere, and that was the detonator she's got. And weird stuff starts happening. Eventually starts having more characters. Having a party, and when Nova is out in the sneaking it back into the property, going out and about, and we see weird stuff. So this is weird stuff. Some of the earth spirits of the Navajo, and they basically take Nova. Then she kind of disappears, and then weird stuff happens. People are dying. Here's a school bus being attacked by tumbleweeds. Did you know that we really identify tumbleweeds as part of the American West? Did you know that tumbleweeds are not native to North America? They were accidentally imported from Russia, from what I understand. And so ages ago. We think of the tumbleweed of the American West, which they are a staple of the American West, but they are not native. Some more weird stuff. And place blows up. A guy's taking a shower, and get the water ignites in the shower, and the whole place blows up. And then another guy is killed. One of the bosses, one of the nice fellows, and this involves a lot of Native American mythology and stuff going on with the. Here's another gruesome guy working on a drilling rig, and he drops his phone, climbs down the cherry picker to catch his phone, and all by itself the thing starts moving, and he is very gruesomely crushed. And more weird stuff. And it's here you can really see, this is Cynthia character, and you can really see contemporary Jamie Lee Curtis in these. And apparently she would have played that character had they got the thing produced. And more weird stuff going on. People seriously injured or dying from horrendous, huge hailstones and various other things until we get into the climax when the winds are picking up regular stones and whirling around as if trying to kill these characters in the house, just hitting the whole house as if shot by a machine gun. Nova is brought back, and her mother's involved. So some weird stuff, and it is really beautifully done. I enjoyed it, although I do get kind of confused and muddied in the climax. Let me see some of the stuff in the climax here. Without telling you too much about it. Kablooey. Some self-sacrifice, kablooey, but people are saved. The company is eliminated. At least the operation is for now. And Nova is instrumental in preserving the stuff, because it's two groups of spirits, native spirits, warring against one another, all involved in this. And you can see even on the cover here, at one point there's some crazy electrical storms going on. So that's all I have to share with you this time with Mother Nature by Jamie Lee Curtis, Karl Stevens, and Russell Goldman. And I don't know about buying it, but find it in the library and read it. It's a good experience. So thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe. Do leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of Mother Nature. Have you, by chance, already read this, or at least seen it in a library, at a bookstore, what have you? Anything like that. Any comments about the artwork? It's some just beautiful artwork. So. And remember, comics are art.